if you're anything like me, sometimes you might go home after the day wondering, what the heck did I do today? Unorganized, shiny object syndrome. I'm all over the place sometimes, doing an unimportant task. There's so many distractions, so much busyness, so many things in the whirlwind, emails, calls, texts, all these things that disrupt our day, our minds, our brains. And there's actually psychology behind this that we'll talk about today. But we get stuck in the whirlwind. And Stephanie Brackett, she sits in both the CEO role of companies and the COO role of companies. And she is an expert at getting things done. And also she talks through, really, she's in a CEO and CEO role. How do we find the person we need for our team, for our organization, for our business to be more effective at getting things done and help us focus on what our unique skill sets are, what we're best at. Who do you need? Stephanie's going to tell you more about how to find that person and get things done. Hello and welcome to the Purpose Matrix. I am very excited for today's guest, Stephanie Brackett. Stephanie, how are you doing today?
I am fabulous.
Well, we are going to get some things done today, and that is what we're going to talk about because Stephanie is an expert at that. She is an operations strategist, a systems expert, executive leader, a lot of different COO roles for different companies. She is currently the COO of Gobundance, a mastermind organization that I am a part of. Stephanie, thanks so much for joining us today. Tell me more, like how did, I'm sure there's a backstory. Why operations? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, a funny story. I got a job when I was 18 years old. My now husband, then boyfriend, called me. I was an executive assistant for a restoration company at the time, and I didn't really like my boss. And my husband called and he's like, "Hey, I just got a job at Home Depot." And I'm like, "Home Depot? What's that?" He's like, "I don't know. This is like 1989. I mean, it was a long time ago." And I was like, "What's Home Depot?" He's like, "I don't know. They sell like paint and lumber and stuff like that." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "They pay $7 an hour." And I was like, "Wow."
Let's do this.
So I went and applied at Home Depot and got hired, and they put me in operations. Like that's where I started. I started as a phone operator in the back, and we also processed all the markdowns. So I got $7.50 an hour. I got 50 cents more. I've never let my husband live that down because they paid me more to start with at 18 years old.
High value.
I ended up getting promoted about 10 times in 15 years. I stayed for 15 years, always in operations. I was always in corporate. I was in that store that I started in for about a year and a half. Then I went and opened up a brand new store in the computer room and ran all their computer stuff. And then I got promoted to a corporate trainer. And so I was a corporate trainer. I was a district manager assistant. I was a regional vice president assistant, just always in operations with Home Depot. In fact, one of the district managers and I created the framework for the scheduling system that they use today. Back in the day when it was on paper, we realized there was an issue with scheduling. We had people downstocking in the middle of the day when the customers were there, and that didn't work because they weren't there to help the customers. They were downstocking product. So we redid the whole thing, which was really cool.
So question on your success there. You talked about the different roles you played, the promotions. What was the differentiator you think for you? And I want to ask this from a lens of someone that's listening that is an operations person or that is looking to hire an operations leader or person in their organization. What should we be looking for when we're doing that?
I just had an inner drive to just be the very best at what I did. And I don't know if you know the guy who wrote the Delbert comic that just passed away last night.
I heard about it.
Yep. He was phenomenal. He wrote some amazing books, some of my very favorite books. But one thing he said is you should never try and be the best at your job. You should try and always be looking for a better job. So just being and I'm not within it can be within the same company. You don't have to leave the company you're with to do that. You should just always be looking for a better job, something that provides you more opportunity. And that's just what I did. I was always looking for the next promotion that I could get. And that required me to be the best at my job, at what I was currently doing. But I wasn't trying to be the best to lock myself into the position. I was trying to be my best to move myself out of the position into the next best position. And so that's,
I think what that does is first of all, you have to to get that next role, in a company, you have to perform above the level of your current role, right? Like you can't, if you do the current role as it is, you're not, I mean, you might get asked to do that next role eventually, but go above and beyond. I think the first thing that comes to mind. But the second thing is when you're changing that rapidly, you are learning at such a fast pace. Like one of the major benefits of new jobs and new roles isn't for the sake of the new role or the new title. It's for you're just learning at a really, really fast pace, a lot of different functions, a lot of different roles, and yes.
Yep.
So you did that for a long time,
15
and then
years.
Kind of started getting into.
Well, at 15 years, we decided we were going to move to Idaho. We lived in California and Las Vegas. All of those roles were in California and Las Vegas. My kids were getting to the age where they were about to go to middle school. We did not want to raise them in Las Vegas, which is where we lived at the time. My husband said, "Where do you want to go?" And I said, "Don't care. I'll retire. I'll quit Home Depot." We had opened an online scrapbook store as a side gig. He worked from home way back in the day when that wasn't even a thing. He was an accountant for a small company. I said, we'll just both quit and we'll go to Idaho and we'll just run our scrapbook store online. And he's like, okay. And it was like literally a map and a dart. Like that's how we decided. We heard Idaho was nice, great place to raise a family, ended up in Idaho. So I was a stay-at-home mom for exactly 7 months. And I got so bored. My kids were in school. I'm like, I've cleaned my bathroom 7 times today. I don't know what else I can do. So I had a neighbor that was a real estate agent that said, "Hey, do you want to do me a favor?" And I'm like, "Sure, what's that?" And he's like, "Do you want to help me in my office a couple days a week?" And I'm like, "Sure, that sounds fun." So I was at the front desk at a real estate office. And he's like, "Do you want to be a buyer's agent?" I'm like, "Sure." He's like, "You got to get licensed." I'm like, "Okay." So I got licensed. And then he's like, "Do you want to help me start a team?" And I was like, "Sure." So I became his COO. We built a team. And then I got recruited away from his team by a bigger team and went to work for a bigger team where I stayed for 10 years.
Yeah. And fast forward. So now, I mean, a lot of operations experience, but now, executive operations experience where you're not just, you're phenomenal at getting things done yourself, but also you're building a team that can get things done too. Yep. And I think that's what makes you so uniquely qualified, and you train people on this, uniquely qualified to help our listeners out, is that you can help train. You've done it. You've coached it, you've taught it to your team members, you build organizations around this, but also you train on it. So I'm a CEO or a COO. What do I need to hire, or what do I need to do at that executive leadership level? Or if I'm for me, small business owner, have an operations leader in my organization, coach me through getting things done and building a team that gets things done.
I think probably the most important part of it, and it's the most overlooked part, is the actual relationship between the operator and, well, I call it the dreamer and the driver. You're the dreamer, I'm the driver. The relationship that we have is what allows us to multiply exponentially. People always say, "Oh, just hire leverage. You can get more done by hiring someone." True. That is true. They can take things off your plate. But if you build an actual relationship with that person, it's like a marriage. You don't just show up to the marriage and be like, "Okay, hope this works." You have an actual relationship. There's give and take, and you have this relationship. And that relationship is what allows you to stay in your lanes, get your stuff done. I'm not afraid to tell Matt, "Hey, it's not your lane, dude. That's my lane. Get out of my lane." He's not afraid to say, "Hey, why didn't you do this?" We can have those conversations, but we also have, "Hey, thanks. I really appreciate you doing that." Or, "Hey, this is amazing." He's like, "Hey, I have an opportunity I want to talk to you about and I want to bring you in on it." Happens all the time. Yeah. And so it's the relationship.
By the way, really interesting that for a COO operations, like someone that just wants to get things done, a lot of maybe the stigma or just the bias, I don't know the word I'm looking for, around an operations person is they're just going to run anyone over to get things done, right? So it's interesting that you say relationships are so critical. There are people that don't have this in their organization. There's entrepreneurs that are managing 5 people. There's leaders in companies that are managing 5 people, but they don't have like that go-to person or operations leaders. But it's scary. Like, in a big company, okay, if I can justify the hiring, but like for a small business owner, I can get this done myself. Like, and an operations leader is going to cost me a lot of money. Why should that, like, maybe when should a small business be thinking about hiring an operations leader, whatever the role is at that time? And why is it so critical?
Well, you got to understand that 1 + 1, when you have the right combination, 1 + 1 is equal to like 9. It's not 2. So when you have that person, you got to decide when the things you're doing are not worth your time to do it. And that doesn't mean they're below you. They're just not dollar productive activities. It's not like it's below you. And you actually never want to phrase it that way, because that's going to kill the relationship that you have. I had an ex-boss who's like, I don't take out the trash. I'm the CEO. And I'm like, you know what? Screw you. No one else is going to take out the trash if you don't take out the trash. You lead by example. I take out the trash. You take out the trash. So they need to decide, when are they doing things that are not dollar productive? And that's when it's going to be an investment. It's going to cost money at first. But if you take the time to pick the right person, you will reap the benefits 30-fold very quickly. There is not a boss that I worked for that I did not multiply his impact. My last real estate team, when I first joined him, there was me, him, one other agent, and a transaction coordinator. And we were running about 120 transactions a year. When I left the team, there was 49 people and we were doing 750 units a year. It was a massive team. And do I think that I had a major role in that? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Do I think they could have got to the same place? No. Mm-mm.
Right. And I think what's so critical here is self-awareness of, back to the dreamer versus driver. Are you a dreamer or are you a driver? Like I'm on the dreamer side and I have all these ideas. And if we did every single thing I dreamed of and every idea I had, we would do nothing, because we would never get anything done. And my team actually helps, like, hey, okay, that sounds great. Like, maybe in the future, like, we can talk about that at some day. And then usually we don't talk about it again. If I don't know if I'm a dreamer or a driver, I don't know what my personality is, how can I figure that out?
Well, there's like 80 million personality assessments that all claim to be able to tell you if you're...
Which one's right?
None of them. None of them are right. So, like, for instance, I'm a DI on the DISC profile. That is absolutely not an operator profile at all. In fact, it's exactly
I'm a DI opposite.
Too. Yep. It's just not an operator, but I'm great at being an operator because I have trained myself with the skills I need to overcome those characteristics that make me not a good operator. Like, naturally, I wouldn't be. Probably the one I like the best, actually, is the Y assessment, the Y.OS. I don't know if you've ever taken it. All the other personality
what's his name?
Profiles tell you what you do. This tells you why you do it. And my why is a better way. And it makes perfect sense to be a great operator. I'm always looking for a better way to do something. Phil, I have 24 vacuums. Like, I literally do have 24 vacuums. And I never understood why I had 24 vacuums until I took the Y assessment. And it's because each one, I think, is going to do a particular job in my house better than the other one. I've got one that does stairs. I've got one that does carpet. So understanding my why made me realize that I was a very good operator because I was always looking for a better way, even though I'm domineering and, influential and all those things.
Yeah, I'll I think it's Y.OS, but I think there's a free assessment you can take online. If I understand it correctly, I saw him speak at an event. You probably know his name, so
Gary.
If you do, you can. Gary.
Yeah. Gary.
So I would encourage you to do that, and I think personality assessments are good because we can help understand ourselves, build our self-awareness, and I think that's the one that Stephanie would point you to help understand Are you a CEO type dreamer or driver or a COO? And I think if you're like, I'm a dreamer and I'm a CEO and you don't have your operations leader, you have to figure out how to justify getting an operations leader in your organization, because like it's not going to pay you now, but it'll pay you pretty quick and it'll pay you a ton long term if you're worried about the financial risk of it that's holding you back. So I would just encourage you to really think about that. I've had that discussion with different business owners in the area. I think it's just holding a lot of people back. So now I want to get into...
Well, I was going to say, I've stepped into a lot of businesses where you can tell an operator didn't put them together. A dreamer did. They're held together with bubble gum and popsicle sticks. And the impact of having to undo that to redo it is it's just going to drag out your success. It's going to take longer to actually succeed because you have to undo what's been done in order to just build it correctly. So you're way better off. I know you, like a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to spend the money. Believe me, you'll spend way more money waiting, running this bubblegum operations thing.
Bubblegum operations.
Tearing it down, building it back up. That'll cost you way more than just hiring the right person at the beginning to build a strong foundation from the start.
And that doesn't need to be a COO out of the gate, right? That can, you started as an executive, like you just need someone that can get things done. And then, if they're phenomenal, they might elevate into a leadership role if they want to lead people, or they might just keep getting things done phenomenally well. So it doesn't need to be, I'm going to hire a COO out of the gate.
No.
So you are an expert on getting done, as you would say. So pardon my French, I won't say that anymore. But tell me about your process, your system of accountability. Like, how do we get really efficient at getting things done?
Well, it's funny. I read a book probably 15 years ago. I've now read it about 8 times. It's Getting Things Done by David Allen. And he had a principle called C-Core in his book. And I was like, this is life-changing. Changed my life. So C-Core stands for capture, clarify, organize, review, execute. So you capture everything that comes into your world. Most people are terrible at capture. They don't capture the stuff that's coming in. You're getting stuff via email, text, Slack, people talking to you in a meeting. There's a million inputs coming in, paper, everything. You've got all this stuff, right? And then you ask yourself, you pick up, say, this is something that I just got. Someone gave me a task, right? You clarify, what is this? It's either actionable or it's not. If it is not actionable, it's either garbage or it's reference that I need to save for later, and I have a filing system to put that somewhere. Okay, so if it's not actionable, it's reference or it's trash. If it is actionable, you ask yourself, is this for me to do right now? Could be one of your crazy ideas, your someday maybes. Matt gives them to me all the time. They go on a someday maybe list. It's actionable, sure. Am I going to do it right now? No. Put it on a someday maybe list. I follow up with them in 6 months. Hey, remember that idea you had? You still want to do that? Nah, that was a stupid idea. Great. Or, no, yeah, I really do. That's a good idea. Let's put it on the books for Q4. Great. I'll capture it and put it on Q4. So you either trash it, or as you're clarifying, can I do this thing in 2 minutes or less? If I can do this in 2 minutes or less, it's not worth filing anywhere else. I just do it. Maybe it's not for me to do. Maybe I need someone on my team to do it. I delegate it. Send it over to Yvonne and say, hey, can you get this done? When I delegate, I always attach a waiting for. So in my system, I use Todoist to execute all this. In my Todoist system, I'd toss that over the fence to Yvonne. I'd put a waiting for to check with her on Friday to make sure it got done. Or I defer it. So I do it, I delegate it, or I defer it. Defer it means it's for me to do. It's going to take longer than 2 minutes, and I can't do it right now. So I put it on my single action list that says, hey, make sure you email Bob Castellini about blah, 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 blah. Just capture it. Quick to do, throw it in there. I'm very good at capturing, clarifying. The organizing is the lists, right? It goes in single action, which means one and done, or recurring. I do this thing every 4th Monday of the month, or I do this thing. So I have single action, recurring, at Matt. Anything that comes up that I need to talk to Matt about, I don't text him 76 times a day. I throw it in an at Matt. And when he calls me for something, I'm like, great, well, I gotcha. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this?
Right.
What about this? Done.
Right.
So I have all my lists. So that's the capture, clarify, organize into list. Review your lists when you know you're supposed to. Todoist is fantastic for that because I just assign due dates and I just go look at Todoist today and it says I've got 14 things to do and I just do them. I could have put something on my list 7 months ago and say, hey, remind me to do this on January 14th. Out of my brain, didn't think about it again until it popped up on January 14th. I'm like, oh, I got to do that thing. And I do it.
Do you do all 14 things no matter what?
Nope.
Like,
I absolutely do not. So basically what I do is if I have more list than I have day, my list is longer than my day is. That's my emergency scan. And my emergency scan, my lens that I always look through is this a commitment to myself or is this a commitment to somebody else? And if I committed to somebody else, that gets priority every time. What I find sometimes is that I'll be like, so like I'm collecting asset allocations right now. You need to do your asset allocation, Phil. I'm collecting asset allocations right now for Gobundance so I can create this.
Dang it.
I know. So I can create this publication that we send out basically saying, hey, this is how our members invest their money. Like good information, right? So they come in all the time. I get them from guys and I throw them in to do it. It's more than 2 minutes for me to capture the data. So I put it in my thing. Well, I had 4 of them yesterday right in a row and I had back-to-back interviews all day long. So I'm like, you know what? No one's going to die if this doesn't get done today. I put it on yesterday's list thinking I'd have time to do it. I didn't. It got bumped to today. I'll do it today. But if I committed to someone else that is absolutely getting done, I will stay up all night long if I committed to someone else.
When you started to say my commitment to someone else or my commitment to myself, I honestly thought you were going to say, I'm going to commit to doing the things for myself. Like I'm going to take care of myself first. So if I played devil's advocate, like, are you constantly working for other people and not taking care of yourself?
I don't really have an off switch. I mean, last summer, Matt called me and he goes, so Steph, I've been thinking. And I'm like, oh no. He goes, you know how we've been living in an absolute shit show for the past 2 years? I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm. And he's like, and you know how you work like 80 million hours a week? Yep. He's like, you're probably operating at about 80%, which is probably 3 times better than most humans. But I need you at 100% and I don't want you to burn out. Why don't you take the rest of the month off, paid, don't take vacation days, go to one of those bougie resorts you like, and I'll pay for it. And I'm like, A, I can't take a week off right now. B, my husband can't go with me. He works in road construction. Like we only have 2 seasons in Idaho. It's winter and road construction season. That's it. There's only 2.
Yep.
So he can't go. But I'm fine. And he's like, but my first reaction to him, I literally, and I've never cried to him before, ever. And I like almost broke down in tears. And I'm like, did I do something wrong? Like that's literally my mindset is I thought I had done something. I had screwed something up and he was telling me to take time off. And he's like, no, not at all. Absolutely not. Exactly the opposite. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take a week off in the summer. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. I'm not going anywhere. I'll just stay home. I'll organize my closets, whatever. I'll take a week off and then I'll take you up on your offer and I'll go somewhere in December when Dave can go. And we went to Mexico in December, stayed for a week. I didn't bring my laptop. I didn't work at all. So I do take time off, but I don't really burn out. I don't understand what that is. I don't get it. I don't have little kids at home anymore. It's just me and Dave. You know, I know some people need time. I find joy in work.
Yep. And I think there's such a push sometimes to not find not find joy in work, but like you can't work. So like if you love what you do, like you're going to work more than the normal hours. Right. And so if I bring it back to just the big thing that stands out in getting things done. And first there's the book you referenced. So I think that, that's a resource that you can check out if you're listening. The capture, clarify, organize, review, and execute. the big thing, like you need a system. I mean, that like whether it's this system or not, and maybe you have to try a couple of systems, but you need a system and then you need to stick to the system. I love the 2-minute rule because a lot of times we probably take 30 seconds to a minute filing an email if we just like, and then we're going to spend 5 minutes looking for it later or trying to find it. Whereas we just get it done, knock it out for 2 minutes. And what about schedule? So talk to me about calendar and schedule and how you manage your maybe day to day, because I think this is a big challenge for me, I will say, and I'm sure it is for others.
Yeah. One more thing about C-Core before we move on there is inbox 0 at least 4 times a day. So that inbox, whatever your inbox is, voicemails, emails, texts, that inbox gets to 0 4 times a day. The issue people have, your brain was actually designed to process information, not to hold it. Most people are using their brain to hold things, which is why you're always forgetting to do things. Your brain wasn't designed to do that. The more things you're holding in the brain, the less space you have to actually solve problems. You can't solve anything because you don't have room to think. It's like having all the windows open on your computer, and then you open up a spreadsheet and you're trying to do some major calculations. Excel is like, yeah, screw you. I'm not doing anything right now. You got to close this crap. So inbox to 0 4 times a day. Good one. Yeah. Inbox to 0 4 times a day. And if you're using the C-Core, you're literally asking yourself those questions in your head. Is this actionable? If it is, can I do it? Those things come naturally so fast. So my day, you ask about my calendar, inbox 0 is the first thing on my calendar every morning.
How much time do you spend on email a day? Those 4 times?
Probably an hour.
Total?
And I have 0 emails. 0. Like I haven't touched like my inbox since you and I jumped on the phone. I have 8 emails right now, total in my inbox, 8. That's it. I got 8. And I could probably process those 8 in literally, I don't know, 6 minutes. The most at the least.
Like four 15-minute time blocks, inbox 0. I mean, if that's 2, if that's 4, depending on the urgency of emails, and you're probably a role as well. But inbox 0, 4 times, and that doesn't mean respond to everything 2 minutes or less. I respond and I address it now. Otherwise, I follow the process.
It's going to a list. Yep. If I got to follow up on it later, I'm throwing it over the fence, and it's going on to my single action due today or due tomorrow or whenever I need to do it. And there's an integration between Todoist and Google, which is super fast. So I can literally just hit a button. I clarify it right there when I'm tossing that task over. So I'm not rereading the email again when it pops up on my Todoist. I know exactly what it is. It says input asset allocation for Phil Moeller. Like that's what the task says.
Gosh, how many times are you going to hit that, Stephanie? Are you going to keep calling me out on that until I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to get this done. I think it's going to take me more than 2 minutes.
It'll take
and then we'll come back and we can get over. Can we get over this now, Stephanie? Are we ready?
I'm done with the asset allocation. I won't bug you anymore about it. So anyway, my calendar, inbox 0, first thing in the morning. I do it before I go to lunch, which my lunch is usually running down and grabbing a packet of tuna fish out of the fridge. It's really bad. And then I do it again about 2:00 in the afternoon. And then I do it before I wrap up my day. My inbox is at 0 before I'm done with the day. So those are time blocked on my calendar. Then I have my one thing. I have a big block for my one thing on my calendar. And that is to manage whatever big project I'm working on this quarter. Right now, my one thing is hiring another membership advisor and a marketing operations person. So like all my one thing time is spent on that. Interviewing, phone interviews, screening resumes. That's my one thing right now. I have to get that done.
How many hours? So like a quarterly rock, my one thing, right? Like you said 1, but maybe it's 2. I don't know. But you're focusing like a time block every day. Like this is my project. Like I have to get this done because there's the book called The One Thing. I'm sure it's, if I get this one thing done, it solves so many of the other problems that I have on a regular basis. So I need to get this done because that thing will end up fixing a lot of other things is kind of the concept of the book. Highly recommend it. How much time a day? And so that's your current quarter.
It's about 90 minutes a day for my one thing. And it just says MOT on my calendar. That's what it says. And it's blocked off and it's in purple. MOT. So I don't know if you use Google Calendar, and you have G Suite, you can actually assign like categories to what you're doing on your calendar so that you can take a look at your calendar. Like Matt and I had a conversation probably, I don't know, 3 months ago. And I'm like, dude, I spent 20 hours this week in meetings. I've got to clear my calendar of meetings. Like I can't, I've got to figure out a way to reduce the number of meetings. If I worked a 40-hour work week, half of it is sitting in meetings.
Yeah.
Where's my execution time? And then of course you add it up, 2 hours a day in inbox zero, because I do 30-minute time blocks to get that done. It's really generally doesn't take me 2 hours. I got an hour of Todoist task time to go get all my Todoist tasks done that have been tossed over there. Like all my time's gone. When do I execute on big things? My one thing time was getting encroached on by meetings. So if you use Google Calendar, you can categorize it and then you keep track of how much time you're spending doing any particular one type of task.
Are those generally the 3 buckets on your calendar? The one thing, email inbox zero, and then your Todoist, like, I'm going to knock these things out today. Is that generally, and then, I mean, meetings that you're pulled into, I guess, would be maybe the 4th category?
Yeah, I have execution, like how I categorize them is execution, like miscellaneous tasks. And then I have execution, my top 20% business, which is my one thing. And then I've got my personal top 20% on my calendar. That's generally after hours, like before work and after work. So I've got my like morning routine that I do. I've got my date night with my husband. I got my FaceTime with my grandkids that I do, that type of stuff. And then I've got meetings, just meetings. Those include one-on-ones with everyone on my team, any leadership meetings, my weekly operations meeting that I have with my whole team. Then I've got reflection and goal setting time. So at the end of every week, I have a weekly recap where I go dark for like an hour. And that's to go back over everything. Weekly review. It's go over everything. I review my calendar. Does anything on my calendar prompt, oh shit, I forgot to do that thing. I was supposed to do that thing. I go back through all of my lists in Todoist. Is there anything that I forgot to assign a due date for that's never going to pop up on today's list because I didn't put a due date on it? So it's my time to reflect and make sure I have everything organized. I do that weekly review. So that's like my top level. So those are my categories.
Yeah. I think Stephen Covey, plan your week every week before the week begins. So you have a system for that, but then a check-in at the end of the week. So really when you're coming in on Monday or whenever it is, you're like, okay, I know exactly where I need to go, what I need to do. Like my week is planned. Do you spend some time kind of Monday morning recapping that and going through it before you get into it, I assume too? Or
really Friday is my weekly recap. Monday morning is what does my week look like this week? What days am I going to have problems on? What days are going to be like, oh my gosh, that one's going to be a grind, or maybe I can move a couple meetings around so I have some more execution time on that day, or a surprise meeting popped up. It's just getting my deck clear so I am in control. The problem is most people feel out of control because they don't know what's on their calendar and they don't know what's on their list of things to do. If I don't get something done, it's because I've chosen not to do it. I've made I don't get something done because I forgot to do it ever. Unless I have a capture failure, which of course I'm human. It happens every once in a while. I don't capture something, but I don't ever not do something because I forgot to do it. I don't not do something because I chose not to do it at that time and I moved it to a different time.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful statement. And this is a pretty powerful discussion. Like I'm thinking right now, like I need this help, but I'm going to have my team listen to this discussion too, because this is good for everyone. Like, so if you're listening to this, of course, put these things in place. But if you start telling your team to do all this stuff, you might say, hey, just listen to this show, listen to Stephanie, what she has to say versus spitting in their face and tell them how to do all these things that you haven't done yourself yet, which is what I tend to do as the dreamer personality. Stephanie, you're writing a book right now. I want to start with kind of what's the main message of the book, and like who are you writing? Why are you writing it? Who are you writing it for? Because usually a book is solving a problem with people that are struggling with something. So like, how are you going to fix us?
Yeah, it's one of those things where Matt and I both have sat in that second in command seat for such a long time, and it's such an underserved role. It really is kind of like the unsung hero. You've got these visionaries that have like all these amazing ideas. They have all these great things and so many things. I mean, you look at the Elon Musks and, you know, the people of the world that have just done these amazing things, and they are absolutely dreamers. Steve Jobs, dreamer. Elon Musk, dreamer. The, you know, Amazon guy, whatever his name is, dreamer. But none of that would have happened without someone behind the scenes actually executing. They aren't really doing anything besides dreaming, and they have the mind that can come up with these just amazing ideas. And so the second in command kind of is this unsung hero that's behind the scenes picking up all the pieces and actually executing on the work. And so that's why Matt and I were like, we need, like, there's a secret sauce to finding the right dreamer driver combo. Not all dreamers and drivers can work together. Like, I can tell you probably 50 guys off the top of my head right now in Gobundance that I could never work for. Our chemistry wouldn't match. I can tell you right now, it just would not match. I know I couldn't work for them. Even though I think I'm an amazing operator, it wouldn't work. The chemistry's not there. I couldn't have the relationship with them. And so when Matt and I started writing the book, we're like, what is the secret sauce? Like, what is the secret sauce to finding that combination? And how do you know, and when do you know you need it? So it's for both. It's for the dreamers out there that know they need this executor. And it's for the executor out there to know that we see you, we feel you, we've been there, and you can be this amazing partner. You just have to attach yourself to the right person. I am risk averse. I'm very risk averse. I don't like to take a lot of risks. My biggest risk I'd say I ever took as far as business was when I left my real estate team. Unfortunately, the team had about 50% turnover within 4 months of me leaving. Like, a lot of people left the team. And one of the gals that left was my transaction coordinator. She was a transaction coordinator. She did all, and she called me one day and she's like, Steph, I can't work here anymore. I need to leave. And I'm like, okay, hold on. And I called my daughter, who has a real estate photography company. And I said, what do you think about starting a transaction management company? She's like, sure. Literally set the thing up in a week. I'm like, we're going to have to pay her payroll for we need deals under contract. She can't work for free.
Right.
So we're going to probably have to float her payroll for 90 days. She's like, okay. She's way more risk averse than I am. My daughter, she just goes. And that was like the most riskiest thing I ever did, is start this transaction management company, which we've now been running for 3 years. My transaction coordinator made $150,000 last year. And I am just over the moon that I was able to provide that for her, that she was able to keep a $50,000 a year job and make $150,000 in 3 years. But that's the most risk I've ever taken, is like, I'm going to have to pay someone payroll for 90 days. Like, I'm just risk averse. And so there are dreamers out there that are not risk averse. I'm sure that's why you got where you were. You're willing to take way more risks than I would be. And so that's how Matt is. And that's why I can attach myself to Matt, because he's willing to take risks that I'm not. But together we can go 100 times further than we could separately.
Is that a critical part of the secret sauce? Like, what is, like, tell me what you can. So you're in the process of writing a book, not out yet, not published yet. So I'll put on my to-do list, which will probably get lost, Stephanie. So I apologize for this, but on my to-do list, when you launch the book,
I'll remind you. Tell me. I'll remind you.
I'm going to re-promote the book. I'm going to re-promote this show for you and say, hey, congratulations to Stephanie and Matt for launching the book. Let's go back to episode X. Check this out to learn more about Stephanie. So you're going to get double the promotion of this.
Awesome.
But you got to get the book done first, which I know you will when you said you will do it. But
I captured that. I'm going to remind you. I'm going to put it in Todoist. And
yeah,
when
you're
that
going to
book comes out,
and you're going to ask me 5 times like you did this, but this whatever, the asset allocation sheet, and heckle me, Stephanie. So now I'll bring it up. I'm salty. What are the elements of the secret sauce that you can talk about?
You know, being risk averse is probably that's probably a me thing more than it is just a global thing. Matt's a second in command too. He's a second in command to David.
Right.
Even he's sitting in kind of both seats. And of course I kind of sit in both seats too. Like I run a transaction management company. So there's a little bit of that, but you got to find someone who's not willing to take the giant risks, because guess what? If they are, they're going to leave you to take the giant risks.
Right.
They are going to go all in. So, but you have to be willing to, you have to find someone who wants to serve people. Like that has to be in their innate nature, be of service to others. I love helping people. I was a real estate coach forever. I love watching my clients like figure something out and like build a system that worked. And like, I loved that. Like they have to be of service to people. That's one of the main points that we make in the book, is like, you have to find someone who wants to serve people. If they don't want to serve people, they're never going to be your right hand ever. Yeah. They just won't be.
Actually, I really appreciate that, because when I think about our team here, so I'm not just saying this because I'm going to make them listen to Stephanie, but really, if I think about our team members here, like they're true, like they have leadership qualities, of course, but they're just servants. Like they're just trying to serve. Like one of our core values is service and respect. Like we're going to serve our residents, our customers, our investors, whoever it is. Like, and they just have a mindset. And honestly, it ends up like they're serving our organization, our team, our culture in so many different ways. So I think that's such an important element of it. And if you don't think someone has service in their DNA, you probably shouldn't maybe hire them anyway. But if like they really stand out, if they really like just want to help, want to contribute, want to serve, then you probably have a pretty good operations team member, leader, whatever it might be. So,
well, yeah, and they can learn the other stuff. Like you can teach them all the other stuff. I can't teach someone to be selfless and serve people. I can't. Like that's not a trait you can teach somebody. They either do it or they don't do it.
Right. So what else from a getting things done process, calendar, like what is there anything else in the execution of like to get things done that we're missing? Are those the big items we talked about? Is there anything else? I don't want to close this out without missing anything. If
you want to save time, people are like, I don't have time to get my inbox to zero. I'm like, dude, you don't have time to not get your inbox to zero. Mm-hmm. You're wasting time by keeping all those things just held in limbo. Read it, decide on it now. Make the decision and move on. And for people who have thousands of emails in their inbox, my advice is always get your inbox to zero for the past 2 weeks, archive everything else. If it's important, it's going to come back.
Right.
But at least
that's what I have to get over is I try to like make it versus just, I agree with that 100%. And I think what you said earlier on, like our brain, I forget how you said it, but basically the analogy to a computer where if you have 100 things running and going on and you're worried about and thinking about, your computer gets really, really slow and your processing speed for your brain itself gets really slow because while I'm doing this, I'm thinking about 7 other things and it's just slowing me down. So I think it's, and by the way, if you don't have time to like, that's so common on like impactful things, like getting things done. If you don't have time to do it, you have to do it because you don't realize the time you're missing. I think that's really powerful too. So
the other thing I have found about myself, I read a book called At Your Best by Carrie Neowolf. Phenomenal book. It talks about how everybody has green zones, yellow zones, and red zones. And people are really only in their green zone. Like that is when you are just on, your brain is working, you're firing all cylinders, you can make quick decisions, you can process lots of information. You're only in your green zone for about 4 to 5 hours a day. Your yellow zone, that's for like meetings. I could participate in a meeting. I'm there. I could do one-on-ones with my team members. My red zone, I'm done. Like I am done. Do not ask me a hard question. I'll have decision fatigue. I won't be able to make it. You have to understand about yourself when those zones are, and they're different for everybody. Some people's green zone is like 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. They're awesome in the middle of the night. Mine is not. My green zone is from 9 o'clock in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when I am sharp and on my game. Then I go into yellow zone. By 6 o'clock, I am done. If you ask me to do something on an Excel spreadsheet at 6 o'clock at night, I will sit there and stare at it for 2.5 hours. It happened once. My real estate boss asked me to do something on a spreadsheet. I put it on Todoist. My Todoist tasks were at 4:30 in the afternoon every day. So it came up the first day. I went to go do it. I stared at my spreadsheet for 20 minutes. I'm like, I can't figure out how to do this. Bumped it to the next day. Came back up. Stared at my spreadsheet. That happened like 7 times. And finally, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm putting this on 9 o'clock in the morning. It was done in 10 minutes. Like my brain just worked. I was like, oh yeah, I got to do this, 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 and this. So make sure when we're talking about your brain and actually getting things done, do the things in the right zones. My one thing time is at 9 o'clock in the morning because that's when I'm best.
The most critical task, the most at the when you're at your best.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's building your self-awareness. I suspect for a lot of people, that's sometime, I think there's science behind this too, but sometime in the morning is generally when you're most efficient and most productive. So how do you define success or excellence or fulfillment? Like, how do you think about that?
Oh, that's a tough question. I mean, I'm human, so everybody makes mistakes. I'm always striving for excellence. I know that I'll never hit it, but to be excellent at something, I think you're just at the top. You could be proud of it. You can actually take pride in what you're doing. When you are excellent at something, it's something you can turn in and say, I'm really proud of this. I'm very proud of this project I did or this work I did. That's excellence. If you're like, oh yeah, I got it done, that you didn't do an excellent job. It's not excellent. If you're just marking off the boxes, that's not excellent. If you're like, man, that was a major undertaking and I'm super proud I got that thing done, that's excellence to me.
Yeah. Also sounds like a servant of people and someone that is like, that answer is really a very well defines who you are, and not just like from a servant perspective, but also operations and just getting things done. Those two definitely connect. Stephanie, if you kind of step back, reflect, think about what you've done, all the things that you've accomplished in early in your career. More recently, you're helping, a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of business leaders have it, grow their business. You're having an impact on a lot of different operations folks through what you do. Step back and reflect. How does what you do, how does it make you feel?
Oh gosh, I love it. I absolutely love bringing operations into the forefront. Like, this is important. We've just been one of those people that just make the quiet behind the scenes people that make things happen, and no more. I think it's starting to become, people are realizing like, dang, I cannot do this alone. And
it's so critical.
It's two sides of the coin. I can't do this without Matt. Like, I get it. I'm not thinking, and that's how operations people are. They get it. They have nothing without the dreamer. The driver has to have the dreamer, but it's two peas in a pod. You have to have both pieces to make it work. And when you figure it out and you get the right person, man, it's rocket fuel. Another book.
Yeah. Well, that's my biggest encouragement is if you don't have that person, find that person. Even when I was in the corporate world and I was in different roles, I had that person that was like, I just had ideas and they made it happen. They got it done. And I've been fortunate to find those people were here. Yeah.
I have my own, like I have another driver for me,
I think it's what's going to make the book so good is Matt understands both sides of it, as do you. Like, you guys have the perspective of being on both sides of the coin. Help us find, where do you want people to find out more about you, so we make sure when I don't get the to-do thing done in the future until you remind me about promoting it then. But how can people find out more about you, Stephanie?
So we have secondincommandclub.com, a website there. We actually have a course right now that just started. It's not too late for people to get in if they want to get their second in command in it. It's a 6-month course that takes an executive assistant. If you have an EA that's like a really good EA, but you need him to be at the COO level, Matt and I dumped our brains into this course, 6-month course. We cover financials. We cover building systems. We cover finding bottlenecks in systems and fixing them. We cover a million different things that'll get you from being just an EA to actually being a true operator of the business. So there's information on a Second in Command Club website under courses on that. So you can take a course. Anybody that's in Gobundance, their second in command can join our second in command club for free. That's just 2 calls a month. One call is a topic related call. So we talk about hiring people or retaining talent or, growth versus scale. And then the second one is just open office hours. Anybody can jump in and say like, hey, I'm having a problem with this thing. Can you guys help me solve it? And then we are going to be opening second in command club up to the general public for a obvious fee for anybody that can join, and they can hop on those calls and
that website is secondincommandclub.com. Okay.
Yep.
Secondincommandclub.com. You can find out more about Stephanie and what they're doing. You can take the training course. You can sign up for that right now, 6-month course. That's going to have it, as we talked about. I think this is so important. I think a lot of times we're holding back. Oh, we can get this done. I don't want to pay that money, but it's really like, how much is that decision costing you in the long term? I think is the question you have to ask yourself on this. So Stephanie, this has been great. I appreciate coming on so much. This has been really helpful. I'm going to get the inbox to 0. I'm going to get your darn asset allocation thing done. And we'll get this out, or I'll wait for your reminder as a test to see if you send me a note when the book is published.
I will send you a note.
Definitely check Stephanie out. I appreciate it so much, Stephanie. And I'm just joking with you, of course. For the Purpose Matrix, signing off.